How do you think that Clay Helton stands with USC, Yogi? I mean, he's gotten a lot of flack over the last couple of years. Obviously, last year, they were undefeated up until the Pac-12 title game, but their wins just came in those last few minutes. You know, they were sliding by with those victories. So do you think that this could potentially be Clay Helton's last season if he doesn't step it up or if he doesn't get him to that Pac-12 title game again?
I think that for a lot of the teams in this conference, especially the blue blood programs, you know, historically, everybody's kind of on 1-year deals, right? Like if Oregon has a, you know, if they go 6-6, right? Like there's going to be rumors of what's going on with Mario Cristobal, right? So I think that's kind of par for the course for USC. I think I'll answer your question in 2 parts. One, last year, and I said this all year on the Pac-12 networks, is context for SC was lost amid a lot of their tight games. Didn't play great against Arizona State. I understand all that, but context of what it was like to be in LA last year, pre-pandemic, right? The example would be, and nobody really needs to go down Corona, you know, historical references all day long. We're trying to move past it, but ultimately they didn't get in their own weight room until the week before they got to training camp, right? Utah was in there in I believe May, right? So it was just a different dynamic, and I think last year everybody kind of got a pseudo mulligan. You know, you could argue USC included in that. And then I think historically USC fans, and I worked there, I understand that place, I think, as well as anybody in the country. There is an element of, you know, unrealistic expectations. And I say that if I asked you from 1980 until now, notwithstanding Pete Carroll, how many 10-win seasons have USC had?
Right.
They had 5, and Clay's had 2 of them, right? So I just think that, like, everybody grew up in the media era of when Coach Carroll was there, and I was part of that staff, where it was like, you just go to the Rose Bowl every year at worst. So that's the standard. Yeah. And Clay knows that. That's a reality. So yeah, is he on the pseudo warm seat? Totally. Does this team have a chance to run the table? Totally. If they don't go 12-0, do I think he's done? No chance. Do I think they need to have a successful season by SC standard, which is win the South? Yeah, that's just kind of what the floor is, I think, for that program. And the problem is it's challenging this year with Arizona State in the South being how they are, Utah with what we would always come to expect, let alone the competitive nature of the other teams in the conference.
At number 3, and maybe the most likely outcome actually of all the top 3 candidates here, is Jack Del Rio. Remember, he played football and baseball at USC, and there's been some buzz out there that Del Rio is campaigning for the job and trying to set himself up in the event that USC fires Clay Helton. Now, I remember he was fired by the Raiders and hasn't coached at the collegiate level, but a former Trojan All-American linebacker, played baseball as well. A whole bunch of offers in the past for head coaching jobs never made JDR a truly legitimate candidate, but things have changed now. He was fired by the Oakland Raiders, and this strikes me in the end as a very typical USC hire. They keep it within the family, so to speak, and they bring in Jack Del Rio. It could work out. The coordinating hires, especially on offense, that would be the number one thing for Del Rio. Don't count him out if USC does make a change and dump Clay Helton. All right, number Campbell. And in terms of young, promising coaches, you're not going to find a better one right now than Matt Campbell. Kind of falls into that Tom Herman type category. The issue for Campbell and USC, I don't know if the fit is actually the best outcome there. He's definitely among the top coaching candidates in college football and, frankly, for the NFL as well. But he spent almost all of his career in Ohio. The furthest west he's been, it really is Iowa State. Is he a truly good fit for the Trojans? Now, I think he'd do a good job, but I think Campbell might have his eyes more towards the east, towards maybe an NFL job like the Browns, or even OSU if that job ends up coming open. So I think he'd be a good fit for USC, or a good success for USC. I just don't know if he's actually the ideal fit. Already floating out there. Number 10, and I don't like this one. I'll make that clear at the very beginning here. Hue Jackson. Remember, it was way back when, I remember the message boards were kind of freaking out when ooh, Clay Helton and then Hue Jackson got fired, and could it be a situation where Lynn Swann brings in Hue Jackson? Now remember, Hue Jackson from LA was the USC OC from 1997 to 2000, but this would be a classic USC hire, and in a bad way. They bring in a USC guy who, frankly, I don't want as a head coach. I don't even know if I want him on my staff at all, because time and time again in every single stop, Hue Jackson tries to skirt the blame, avoid the repercussions, and blame it on anybody else. That is exactly what he would do at USC. I don't want him as a leader of young men on my program. Number 10, and